It seems really rare these days that I actually get to drive a sedan, let alone just a pure gas-powered one. Well, today is my lucky day. Today I am in an Audi. I'm driving the A5, and I actually have a little bit of a quick time in the S5 as well. This is purely going to be a first drive. Now, just to level set here, I literally got in this car like, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes ago. But today we talk about sedans. We're on a windy road, can you hear it? Let's get into it.
The A5 rides on the PPC platform. That's Audi's ubiquitous gas-powered platform, and would have previously hosted the A4. Now, this vehicle shares a great deal with its SUV counterpart, the Q5, powertrain being one of them.
The A5 gets powered by a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. That's an inline 4. It makes 268 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque. That is an increase from the powertrain that you had in the last version of it. I'm sorry, that's just my croissant bag that's smushing back there. But maybe that just shows you that this actually is very adequately powered. I'm right now in dynamic mode, and the throttle is really nice and responsive. I actually am not feeling a tremendous lack of power. I don't feel like, oh gosh, this is kind of sluggish. I'm up in the mountains too, so the turbocharger does help a little bit here. I mean, I feel like you could definitely have some fun in this sucker.
0 to 60 times in the A5 look decent with 5.6 seconds and a top speed of 130 miles an hour. Now, driving a sedan always feels a little bit more dynamic to me. Your seating position is lower, that means so is your center of gravity. Turns feel quicker, and even if you're not working with a geyser of horsepower, it still feels sportier. The A5 follows that paradigm for sure.
The S5, well, you know that the second that you get into it, just because it sounds so incredible, and that is because of the 3-liter turbocharged V6 under this one's hood. That makes 362 horsepower, 406 pound-feet of torque, and guys, it's immediately noticeable for sure. So this also does have its own separate modes, and I think that they're really nice and distinctive. So in comfort mode, it's not kind of uproarious and raucous. I mean, yeah, you get that power pretty quickly. You're not that deep into the rev range, and you're getting a really nice dose of sort of inertia moving forward. That's thanks in part to, anything over 400 pound-feet of torque, that's super impressive. And then dynamic mode, it's just like even more so. This does get an adaptive air suspension, and I'm trying to see if I really feel a big difference. If it's changing a ton, you guys, I'm not feeling it. A little harder to tell when it comes to that, but I will say this, that air suspension is so comfortable. It really is a lovely ride.
The S5 will genuinely blow your hair back. I mean, it feels instantly exciting, 0 to 60 times, 4.3 seconds, and a top speed here of 155 miles an hour. Proceed with caution.
I know that SUVs are sort of the safer vehicle. They're a little bit heavier. They have a better vantage point, but you guys, there's really something to be said for driving a sedan. If you are looking for something that is on the sportier side, you really should take a look at them. I know that there are sport SUVs, and that's great, but there's something about just being nice and low to the road that you can't beat. I think the interior in here is really special as well. This color is gorgeous. It's all leather and suede or faux suede. You're definitely paying more money for this, but I think you're getting a lot for what you pay for.
Both engines mate to a 7-speed dual clutch that adds even more to that sporty nature of this car.
Let's see how it downshifts here. Okay, like I could have downshifted a couple of more gears and maybe another gear, like going around that turn, but I also can put this in manual mode, and if I want to, especially around turns like this, maybe not here, but I can always downshift myself. As far as how smooth they are, yeah, I mean, this is lovely. They've kind of dialed this in at this point. I think it's a suitable match. Yeah, there we go. Get a little extra juice when you go around turns. If you want to do that, just use the paddle shifters. They're kind of plastic. I wish they were metal though. That'd be kind of nice.
Both A5 and S5 get the same Quattro system that Audi earned its stripes with. It's so confident in this mountain driving setting, and when it starts raining or even snowing a little bit, the A5 didn't flinch.
In the A5, you are on 18-inch wheels. Those are wrapped in some all-season tires. When it comes to the S5, you're on 19s standard, and you do get a summer tire. So the steering has been improved on this new iteration of the A5, and I feel like it's doing a perfectly good job. I kind of like the weight on it here. Let's see, that's in dynamic mode. Let's go into comfort. Definitely loosens up a little bit, not quite as heavy. I say this all the time. I kind of prefer it in more of a heavier setting. I just went into balanced mode, and it definitely tightens it up a little bit. So maybe this is like the Goldilocks era of steering feel. I would say for my money, dynamic or balanced, but I would think maybe for everyday driving, comfort is the way to go.
When it comes to suspensions, we do have a little bit of separation here, and you will be able to feel the difference. The A5's suspension is fixed. The S5 gets an adaptive air suspension.
So let's talk about that fixed suspension for a second. Honestly, I think it's a really nice drive feel. This is a luxury car, so they don't want it to be too harsh or too floaty. I think they've actually struck a really nice balance. Again, because it's not adaptive, they really kind of have to straddle a line between relaxed and comfort and that dynamic mode. We're going over some imperfections right now, and I definitely can feel them. Overall, I think it's a nice ride. I'm glad that the highways are not quite as bumpy as this, because you do feel it, which, I don't know, maybe it could be just a little more finessed. But I will say, as far as the environment goes in here, it is quite lovely and quiet. I do hear the road, especially when I'm going over those bumps quite a bit. I hear the engine too, so not as serene a place as maybe some of the models that are kind of higher up the food chain, but still appropriately Audi and luxury-esque. As far as the dimensions go, everything does get a tiny bit bigger in here. The wheelbase also is extended. It also is going to give your rear seat people a little bit more room for their legs, which they will thank you for, because the A4 traditionally was notorious for really inadequate backseat foot room, leg room, foot room, leg room.
Gas mileage looks acceptable, and naturally on the S5 you're going to take a hit, especially in the city.
I will talk about the interior design for just a second, but as it relates to how you interact with it as a driver, there are a lot of screens in here. The passenger screen is optional.
If your passenger is watching YouTube or playing a video game, don't worry, you will not be able to see it while you're driving, but you will have to listen to it, because as of now, you're not able to pair Bluetooth headphones to that screen. It's a little bit of a bummer, but maybe that's something that Audi can bring to the table soon.
As far as this driver stuff goes, this screen is oriented toward the driver. It's nice for a couple of reasons. The first is it doesn't really take my focus kind of away from what I'm doing, which is hopefully driving safely. The second thing is if I do want to reach something that's right here on the right-hand corner of the screen, it's not going to be such a lunge for me, and my shoulder, technically, if my arms were longer than that of a T-Rex, I could reach this part of the screen. So for people with normal sized arms and hands, that's actually a really nice feature. It looks freaking amazing, but I expect nothing less from Audi. They were really the innovators when it came to the digital dashboard, and they have added a shelf here too, so when I'm driving, if I want to change the HVAC, which is all now on screen. I can do that while steadying my hand. I can pick my seat heaters or coolers. So as far as this goes, I think, yeah, there's a little bit of a lack of physical buttons, but they're really doing everything they can to not pull driver focus. The seats are really comfortable. They've also gotten a little bit wider up at the top. I don't know if you can see that, but this seat is really going to be able to accommodate a lot of body types, which is really nice. It has nice bolsters here for if you're doing some sporty driving, like in the S5. And yeah, I could sit in this for a very long time. Also, you can get some upgrades where you get some speakers in this headset. And if I'm getting directions yelled at me from this lady who has a lovely smile in her voice, she's fantastic, they will come just in the speakers in my headset so nobody else gets disturbed. I like that.
Subscribe to the KBB YouTube channel while you're here because so many of you who are watching aren't. And guys, that's how we get judged by our bosses. That's not a joke.
Visibility is great. The rear windshield is a little bit small, but I mean, you can just press on the throttle and get out of the way, so you don't even really need to see who's behind you. The one last thing I'm going to say about the interior is the roof. So you now have just a glass roof, and I'm not a fan of that, I think, for a couple of reasons. I don't like the glare that comes in here. I do get a little hot, as well as it always adds a little bit of weight to a car. But there is an ability to like make it sort of opaque and make it transparent. If you do want to know more about the interior, about cargo space, seeing what the physical passenger space looks like, well, Mike Danger did a full video of all of that when he did a first look, and he's 6'4", so you're going to get a much better sense. You're going to something in the road. You're going to get a much better sense of how a tall person fits in the back there than you would if I did it. So click on that link right there and you can check out his video of what it looks like and all the features.
Perhaps my favorite part of the interior is the shortcut button on the center console to the safety features. It gets you to things like lane keeping assist, and you can customize it as well so you're not searching around while you're driving if you want to turn things on and off. Speaking of Audi's safety features,
while Audi does not have a hands-free, eyes-up autonomous driving system, they do have adaptive cruise control, and I've got it on right now. It does have a lane centering function on it, and you know, the VW Group's, their system is pretty good. I don't actually find it obtrusive. It's fairly smooth when it's sort of bumping you in and out between the lines. You don't feel like you're in a pinball machine. It feels really nicely refined. So it's a good system. I have a feeling at some point they will be coming out with something that will allow you to do a hands-free heads up like everybody else, or like people are starting to. So we'll wait and see about that. So one thing that I am not crazy about driving, there's a lot of haptic buttons on this steering wheel. I just made a turn and the palm of my hand like started messing with the volume on the stereo inadvertently. So these buttons are sensitive. If you do kind of knock over here, it's likely you could change a setting or something, which is not my favorite, as my nephew says when he has to eat vegetables.
I have heard that Audi knows about this issue, and that's all I've heard from them. But you heard it here first, that those haptic buttons may not last that much longer. Pricing on the A5 starts at $50,995, including Audi's destination fee. The S5 goes up quite a bit to $63,995. Aye.
That does sound a little bit expensive, yes, but hey, you know what? It's a luxury car, and here we are these days. Also, good to remember that the Q5, which has a lot of similarities to this vehicle, is the starting price on that Q5 is $3,000 more, both on the A and the S. So you are getting pretty much equal cover here, but just for a lot less. Maybe you're missing out a little bit on your seating position and kind of a view of what's going on, but if Audi is really important to you, you can get into one for a little less cash. Speaking of cash, if you are ready to buy any one of the Audis, numbers irrelevant, click on the link above and Kelley Blue Book can help you find a fair purchase price on any of them.
Competitors in this segment are fun. The Mercedes-Benz C-Class, the BMW 3 Series, the G70 from Genesis, though snag that soon because it's sadly going away. What a great car that is. Oh, and the Lexus IS.
So yeah, you guys, you know what? I'm such a huge fan of sedans. I really do wish that they had a little bit of a comeback. They're so much fun to drive, and they will be much easier on your pocketbook. If you're kind of on the fence about what vehicle to get, then, you know, definitely throw a sedan in there and see if it's maybe something that might work for you. You never know. But check out the Audi A5 and S5. I think they've done a good job with them.